Hello friends, welcome to Coding Techniques again. Today I'm going to teach you how to work with the Firebase push notifications in our Android application. So let's get started. So as you can see here, we are into the capacitorjs.com where I am into the push notification plugin one, in which this is how we are going to install the push notifications. Well, we don't need to work anything into our browser this time. We directly going to jump into the Android Studio. So this is my application which I have just created, a new application which is the standalone one. You don't need to work with standalone or anything else. It's the same stuff only, but little bit changes are there, so you don't need to worry about anything. Whatever I'm going to show you, just need to implement that. That's it. Now I'm going to install this plugin here by using this command. Okay, once that will be done, the second command we need to install and we are good to go to work with the other stuff. Now I'm not going to cover up iOS in this particular video, but we are going to work only with the Android one. So this is done. Now I'm going to run Ionic build in order to run the next command, because it's going to create the www folder, which is very much necessary to work with the Android and iOS one. So now this is ready and I'm going to run the next command, npx cap sync, or you can also run Ionic cap sync too. Let me hit that. It's done. Now before running anything else, I'm going to go to capacitor config.ts file. Here, well, I'm going to change the package ID and all other stuff which is necessary for creating a new project or working with the Android one or iOS. Otherwise, you need to change it later on. That's completely up to you how you want to do that. So my package ID that I'm going to pass will be this particular one. Let's say com.techniques.test push. Okay, FCM is fine. FCM, let's say app or anything, whatever you want, you can just pass it here, but it should be unique and in a reverse manner. You need to pass it. I've already taught you this stuff, I think, lot many times, so I'm not going to cover up in depth about this. Let's go to our package and see what else we need to do in the Android one. We are going to see that in a moment, but before going to that, I need to add something in my capacitor.config.ts file. So I'm going to just copy this thing, okay, and get back. Now after this server, I'm going to paste this particular stuff. That's it. So this is the configuration which we need to apply for push notification one. It's going to allow you to play the push notification sound and everything. Okay, so this is done now. All right, what next we need to work with? Well, silent push notification data only for iOS and Android. Okay, there are a few common issues also which we are going to just check one by one. Let's go to our application and create some services in order to work with the Firebase push notifications features which are shown here for Android and iOS. Also, it's going to be the same stuff, but we are going to implement few of the things in the listeners one. Where is it actually? Listeners are available. This is the one. We're going to implement this listeners here, okay? And we are going to check whether this works or not. Basically, the register one, we are going to check whether the token is getting registered for the push notification one or not. Okay, we are going to allow the permission or request the permission for push notification. And these are the listeners by which you can track the data also, but we are not going to go in depth of this data here. Let's go to our front end, that means the application, and create some services, because I'm going to cover up all these things in this services one. So Ionic G service within our services folder, which will be created automatically. Within that, an FCM folder where I'll have the FCM service. Let's create that. Now this will be created here. Okay, you can see we have the FCM service created, and in the home page I'm not going to do anything. If you want, well, you can simply change it to push notifications, but we are not going to look into that. Okay, and you can simply clear all these things if you don't want anything out of here. Okay, in this manner, CSS also you can simply clear it. You're good to go. If you don't touch that also, still it is fine. Now within this service, what am I going to do? I'm going to implement all these features here. Okay, so let me just copy and paste few code. This is the code which I'm going to just implement. Don't focus on the errors. I'm going to explain you. This is basically for the storage one, which I'm just going to create in order to save the FCM token that we will be getting on register. So At first, what I will do, I'll create a function called init push, in which I'm going to check for the platform. If the platform is web, then I'm not going to register anything because this is not going to work in web. In PWA, you can work with that, but that's the different stuff. We are just focusing on the Android one. That is why if it is Android or iOS also, still it will work if you're working there. Okay, that's what I have done. And within this register push, what I have done, I'm looking or listening to all the listeners in this particular function, add listeners one, and then I'm checking the permission. If the permission is prompt, then I'm just going to request the permission and move ahead. If it is not granted, then I'm going to simply throw an error. Okay, that's what I'm doing. That's it. Because if the request permission is denied, definitely you don't want to go ahead, right? All right. So if everything is good to go, then you are simply going to register this push notification in your Android device, and then you're good to go. You will get a token there. That's what we are going to learn in this particular function, which is called register function. Okay, now what does register function do? Let me just show you. This is the one. So this is the register function, which is registering the app to receive push notification. Okay, and you can unregister also using the unregister function. So everything can be done here. Now let's get back and look into the other functions which we have here. One is the get delivered notification, in which you will get the delivered notification. Whichever notifications are delivered, you will get those lists, and you can just check that also with the help of this particular function. I'm not going to use that function anywhere. You can just check this out. I have not passed it. If you want, you can pass it here. Okay, and get the list of all the delivered notifications. Fine. After that, the most important one is the add listeners one. If you are going for registration one, you will get this listener to be called, okay, where you will get a token, and you are going to get the value of that particular token in this particular manner, because this is the token that we're going to get. Within that, a value will be passed. All right, and I'm using a variable here which I'm setting it to 1. You can just set true or false, whichever you want to. Now if the value is available, then I'm simply going to get the value from the save token. Means I'm just checking here whether you have a previous saved FCM token or not. So what happens is, when you're registering for the first time, you are going to save that token into the registered one. That means a local storage one. And if it is already available, then we are not going to register it again. We are simply going to skip that part. That is what I'm going to do here. And for tracking it down, I'm just looking at the storage one, whether this is available or not. So if the save token is available, that means we have some token there, and I'm going to check a condition that the save token which is saved there, if it is equals to the FCM token that we are getting, then we are simply going to say that we have the same token. All right, and we don't need to do anything. Otherwise, we will have go equals to 2. And if it is same, then we are setting go equals to 0. Now why I'm doing that? Because we have a condition here. If go equals to 1, then only I'm going to set the FCM token. Otherwise, I'm not going to do that. And if it is 2, then I'm simply expiring the earlier token. Means I'm setting it in this particular manner in order to update the token, because we will be getting the updated token if the token is expired. Fine. So that is what we are going to do here. Now let's create another service for our storage one quickly. So I'm going to do the same stuff, except this is going to be storage/storage. Okay, so this is also created here. Let's check it out. This is our storage service, in which I'm going to have this particular code here, which I think you already know about it. So within this, we are setting the storage, we are getting the storage, we can remove the storage also, clear storage, and get token. These are the functions which I have already created, and I have explained you many times in my previous videos. So let me just give it of type string, or let me just give it of type any, I think. Okay, but it will be a string format only, the key. So I'll pass it as a string here in this manner. Fine. And the value will also be in a stringify format, so you can simply pass it, but I'll keep it as any because I don't want to take any risk here. Fine. Once that is done, I don't think we have any more errors here. Yes, we do. One error is here, which is for the preferences one. So we need to install this particular plugin also, which is available here. Preferences one, which is related to storage one. Okay, and you can use two kinds of storage here. One is the native one also, I think with the index DB one, which is available where, let me just show you. You can just check this out. Okay, you can use the index DB one here using the native storage, but by default capacitor storage will be used where you will have the local storage one. Okay, so let's implement that here. Now I'm going to run npm I, then this preferences one. Okay, now once that will be installed, the next command that we need to run here is this particular one, npx cap sync. Okay, once that will be done, everything will be good to go, and we don't need to do anything here. I don't think so anything needs to be done. So I'll jump to the push notification again and look into the Android one. So this is done, npx cap sync. I'm just going to run here. Everything is good to go. In the FCM service, I have an error here. Why is this coming up? Okay, it is saying that the argument of type string or null is not assignable to parameter type string. So in order to get rid of this error, you need to return the proper type here. Okay, so let me just pass it of type any. So it is going to return any value. Alright, so that's what you're going to get, because it's not going to be a string, it's going to be an object basically. So now the error is gone and I think we are good to go. Okay, now after doing this stuff, well, before jumping into the Android one, we need to do one more thing into our app.component.ts file. In this particular file, we need to implement some stuff in order to work with the Firebase functionality directly. So in the constructor, I need to inject the FCM service here and need to do some activity. So this is the stuff which I need to implement. Let me just break it down for you so that you can understand quite easily. First is the platform one, which we need to inject into our constructor, which is very much important. Then the FCM service I have injected. Once both of them are imported here, you can see if the platform is ready. As soon as the platform is ready, then only we are going to implement some functionality here. That's gonna be the init push function, which I'm just going to call. That will be responsible for registering the app to receive push notifications. Okay. Alright, so our configuration is ready here. Now we just need to add the Android platform. So Ionic cap add Android. That's what I'm going to do here. Alright, our Android platform is added here. Now what exactly we need to do into our Android platform? At first, you need to understand if you're using FCM push notification, that means the Firebase push notifications, you need to download the Google services.json file for Android, and for iOS it's going to be a different file. So in order to receive that file, you need to go to your Firebase console and create a new project here. Okay, these are the simple steps which I have shown many times for creating a Firebase project, and it's pretty simple. You just simply need to go ahead. I'm just going to skip this particular step and I'm directly going to jump into the project here. So I have already created this project here. You can see I have tested many push notifications one which are already working. It takes some time to run, but still it is working. Now you need to go to the messages one, messaging. Actually you will find it in the engage one. Okay, you need to go there. So once you enter that, you will get options of this kind. Okay, for creating new campaign and other stuff. For project overview, you don't need to go with the configuration of Firebase here. So this is a very plus point for you. You just need to work with this particular stuff, getting the JSON file. Okay, so I'm just going to go to the project settings here at first. So in the project settings, if I just scroll down, you will see this is my com.techniques.testfcm. This is my package name. Now if I add another package here, let me just do that. I'll add another package which I'll name it as, what is the name that I have given to our new package one. Let me just check it here. Okay, this is the name or package ID, I would say. Let me pass that. Okay, FCM app, any name I have given. The SHA-1 key is optional. If you want to pass, you can pass it. I'm just going to register the application here. So once that is registered, you can see download Google Play services.json file. You need to download this file, and in where you need to place, I'm just going to tell you now. But before that, let's complete the setup. So you just need to hit go or next next and complete this. Okay, once that is completed, you can see again you can download this file. If you just certainly skip that part or you have not downloaded it, you can still do that. That's pretty easy. And you can change your app name also if you want to, and add a fingerprint SHA-1 key if you want. Okay, alright, so we are ready with our application here for Android. Now where to place this Google services.json file, because if you don't work with that, you are going to get an error. Now this is my project folder, and here you can see Android. Within the Android you have the app folder. Within the app folder you need to paste that Google services.json file, which is very much important. Okay, because without placing this, I'm telling you again, you will get an error. Okay, so this is very much important to place at a proper location. Once that is done, let me close it and get back to our application here. The next step, well, let's get back. In order to check our next step for push notification for Android, we need to do certain things here. In the variables, I need to pass this particular stuff. So let me copy and go to variables.gradle file. I'm just going to search using Command+P or Control+P for Windows, and you will get this particular prompt here. Okay, just search here and variables.gradle. I'm just going to paste it and pass the configuration version, which is this particular one. Copy and paste it here, and you are good to go. What next we need to do here? Well, you need to place this particular meta tag into your Android manifest file. So I'll just copy it and go to my manifest file, Android manifest file, and before or after the provider, I'm just going to paste it. All right. So once you do that, let me just break it down. You can see the resource icon for our push notification is given as at mipmap/push icon name. Okay, so we need to change that because I don't think we have that particular location. So in the rest folder, you won't see any mipmap folder directly. I don't think it's going to work. So what you can do, either you can create a mipmap folder here. And for doing that, let me just get inside this particular location. And within this, I'm just simply going to copy all this stuff and will create a new folder here in this manner. Okay, and I'm going to name it as mipmap. Within this, let me paste this icons here. Now this icon will be used, and I'm going to change the name into my meta tag also, metadata tag, which is going to be this particular one. It's going to replace with IC launcher. If you don't do that, well, it's going to look for that particular name and it won't find it, so it will give you an error there. By default it should not give, but sometimes it gives that. So once that is done, I think in Android manifest we don't need to do anything. Let's check it out. Well, you don't need to work with anything else here, right? So we have tackled this particular situation pretty nicely. Now it's time to test it. For testing it up, let me just do one thing. I'll open this project in Android Studio using the command Ionic cap open Android and hit enter. So now you can see the project is opened up in Android Studio, and if we try to run this, let's see what happens. So I'm going to select Pixel 6 Pro API 33, and this is my emulator. So let's run this up and see whether do we get any error or not, or it works properly. Alright, the app is launched and I don't get any error as of now. What about the push notifications? Will I get that? Let's check it out. For doing that up, let me go to the Firebase console, to this particular project here, to the messaging one. And in the messaging one, I'm just going to create a new campaign here. Okay, if you don't have all these things, you need to just register it or create it. Now I'm going to go for notifications, and here I need to pass a title. So Android app notification test. I think this is very big. So let me just cut this and paste it in the text one, and for the title, test app. Okay. Now, if you just scroll down, you will see lot many options. Okay. I'll just hit on next, and you need to select the application here. So I'm going to select the FCM app here, which is our app. And then you need to go to the next one. You can target another application also if you want, and send to eligible users when right now I want to send. If you just want to like schedule it, definitely you can do that also. Now I'll just hit next, and I'm just going to go next again, and I'll just scroll down. Now if you want to pass some data here, definitely you can do that. Say like I'll just pass some data as a key, and in the value let me pass value 1. Okay, let me pass that, and sound I'll enable it, and I'll just click on review. Now I just need to click on publish, and I think we are good to go. It's gonna take some time. Alright, our campaign was successfully started. This is the latest one which is active right now, and it's going to take some time. In order to receive the notifications, we need to wait for it. So I just removed the Android Studio, and we are going to open it up again, and I've given console log properly error FCM if we get an error, because we were not getting the push notification permission alert that we used to get. So I'm just going to try it again. So I'm just going to open it up in Android Studio once again. Let's check it out this time we get it or not. And I've removed the application from the emulator, so it's going to install it once again. Alright, so let's go for it. I'll hit this button, and it's going to run that up. Now, one more thing you can do here, well, you can simply go to the FCM one. I think given here, if the prompt is already shown, where it is for the permission one, yes. So if the prompt is shown, and then only it's going to request the permission. So I think the problem is here. If it is not granted, then also I want to request for the permission. Okay. So I think you can simply change it to granted one also. That will be fine. I think granted is available there. But anyways, I'll just keep it for the time being. Let's get back and see. You can see I have the notification one. I'll hit on allow, and we are good to go now. So once that is done, if I just go to Locket, and let me just search for my token. Do I get anything? Yes, I think I do get an object here. And if I want to check it out, well, I'll go to the browser. Within that, I need to look for Chrome inspect devices, and I need to just simply hit on inspect, where I'll get this particular stuff where I have my token. Within that, this is the value of my FCM token that I'm getting. So this is how you can simply check your application stuff for the console log properly. Okay, and I'm just going to close it and get back to our Android Studio. So this time, if we try to pass in a push notification, let's see whether it works or not. So I'm just going to go to my messaging one once again, and in the messaging one we need to create one again. Okay, now I'm not going to repeat this or duplicate this, because for the timing it's going to give certain issues. So let's create a new one, new campaign, where I'm just going to name it as a title of test app and Android push notifications test. Okay, now same drill. Next, select your application. I have two applications, so I need to select one of those. Okay, or you can select another one also. Now I'll hit on next, schedule now, next, and simply pass some data. Well, I'm just going to pass token data, or pass any data, whatever you want, and value will be this. Okay, key should be passed in a proper manner. So let me pass key 1, value 1. Okay, sound, enable it up, and you're good to go. Go for review and simply hit on publish. Once that is done, let's get to our application here, and we need to wait for some time. It will take some time, but you will get the notification with a sound. So let's wait for it. Right now we don't have any notification here, and I'm going to enlarge it by clicking on this button. All right, and you can maximize it in this manner. Let's wait for it. So you can see I just received the push notification, and this is the one that is coming up. It took a little bit of time, around 2 to 3 minutes, but it came up. Sometimes it takes a lot of time, but it happens quickly also. I was just preparing another one. Let's test it. How longer does it take? So it is 10:05. It is showing right now. Check it out, how long it takes. Well, I think maybe I'm running it in the emulator. That is one of the reasons. I don't know. Maybe a possibility that it is delaying it up, because I think we will get the stuff pretty quickly here. Let me just check it, wrap it up. Let me remove all this. And now we should be able to see the data also. If I just look for value 1, I should be getting here push notification received, where I'm receiving ID along with the data where I have passed the key 1 and value 1 for the first time. Okay, so I'm receiving the data here. That is in fact great. And if you just want to check it, what you are getting in the inspect one, I'll just click here. And in the inspect one, you are receiving, in the push received one, you're getting the data. In that you are getting the ID, key value, and all other stuff in the stringify format. I think you can just get the proper data out of it. That is also working, I think, right? So this is how you can work around with all these things. Okay, now what I need to do, well, we need to wait again for the next notification to receive. It has not come yet, and it will work in the background also. So if I just remove the application, let me just remove the application here. Okay, let's check it this time whether it comes or not. So I'll just remove the application. Let's wait for the notification to show up. So the next notification is, I think, directly test we will be getting, which I just prepared here, test. Let's check it out whether it shows up or not once the application is killed. All right, after killing the application also, I think after 4 minutes, I have received the notification, but where is the notification? Okay, this is the one. Actually, there are 2 notifications, so that is why. Test, that's what I'm getting. And if I click on it, it will open up the application. So this is working, but it took a long time, and I hope it doesn't happen in the real device, because that's quite a long time. 4 to 5 minutes is quite long. Anyways, so many of you might face a problem with this when the app is killed. Well, I think this is the latest version of Android which I'm checking, API 33, but in the previous versions there might be an issue with the app is killed, or if it is killed for a longer duration, then there might be a problem, right? In order to fix that problem, well, there is a solution that is being given here into the documentation. If I just look into this documentation here, what is the common issues? That on Android there are various systems and app states that can affect the delivery of push notifications, and it can restrict certain capabilities. So that is what it is saying. There are differences in behavior between development and production. Okay, so try testing your application outside of being launched by Android Studio. That is what it is being saying. So it is saying you can test it directly without going through the Android Studio process. That's what you can do with Ionic app, means live reload. That's what you can try out. So before these common issues, for the Android one, it is said that this plugin supports data only notification but will not call push notification received if the app has been killed. To handle this scenario, you will need to create a service that extends Firebase messaging service. So it is saying that push notification received, that's what that listener won't be called. So let's check it out here. What do we have? We are getting the listeners, we are getting the token, right, out of it. And along with that, do we get the data also? For the test one, this is the other data. What about the other one? Well, I don't see the data that I'm looking for. Okay, I got the data here. So data is coming up, but I think push notifications might not received according to this documentation if the app is killed. So we need to handle it by creating some service into the Android Studio. So let's get started with that. Let's try to create that. And for doing that up, I'm going to look into this documentation here. So I'm just going to try it, and it worked for me. Well, I have just done something. If it works for you also, then it's great, because this documentation is really helpful in order to understand that problem and rectify this up. So these are the steps which you need to apply. But at first you need to create a service on your own. So for doing that up, I'll go to Android Studio here, and in the Java one, well, in this particular one, you need to go to new and create a service here. I'll just click on this service, and you need to pass a name here. So my Firebase messaging service. Okay, that's gonna be the name that I will pass. All right, so let's me just click on finish, and it will be created. Do you want to add the following to Git? Okay, add it, no problem. All right, so this is the Firebase service that is being created just now. Now, first of all, what am I going to do? I need to register this in this particular manner. So copy it. Once that is copied, I'll have to go to the Android manifest, which I can go it from my Visual Studio Code also. So manifest file, and in the manifest file within the application here, it is already, you can see, created. So you don't need to do anything, but you need to change some stuff here. So I'm just going to pass few things. Let me just paste it directly. So this is my stuff where I am passing direct boot aware to be true, Android enable that was already true, and exported you can set it to false or true. In the documentation it is set to false here, but you can set it to true also. Now what are the other things? Meta tags you can simply pass. Well, I'll just scroll down in order to check it properly. Or instead of showing you all the things, well, you can simply check for boot aware also. I'll just search for it. Boot, direct boot aware. If you want to receive it in boot mode. Okay. So this is what the one that you need to install. And I'm going to show you that, don't need to worry. Now doing this, what will happen? Enable boot direct boot mode message handling in your application. Maybe it's related to when OS is getting boot up. Maybe because in that particular scenario, you need to receive the notifications. That's why you need to do that. So I have done that part. Okay. Don't worry. I'm going to show the installation also, everything. Let's go to our service and work with this particular one. So I'm going to pass some code here. Now within this, let me just replace all of it with my code. So this is my code here. Okay. Now I have the same service, which is extending the Firebase messaging service here. And these are the imports that you need to have. And most of them, I have taken it from this particular documentation only. So basically what is happening is on message received, what exactly you need to do. I'm just performing some execution here, schedule job and handle now. If true, so on message received, certain functionality needs to be done, which is shown here. You can simply check this out. Okay. And here schedule job and handle now function is being used. So check if data needs to be processed by long running job. If it is true, then schedule job function will be called. Otherwise, if the messaging is handled within 10 seconds, then handle now function will be called. Now what these two functions are not explained here, what exactly you need to do. So you can simply open this Java file and understand what exactly it's being done. Okay. And perform the same activity here. So this is the stuff that is being done for handle now and schedule job. That's what I have also done. And in you send notification, we are not going to work with that part. In the schedule job, one time work request, it is calling myWorker.class, which is explained at the very bottom. So this class is being called where do work. Okay. This function is very much necessary. So this class is being called here. Just you need to follow these steps. Okay. I'm just following this documentation. I'm not gone in depth and I'm not going to explain you in depth. That's going to take longer period of time. So you can simply understand if you want to, or you can simply copy and paste this whole code here. Just the one that is shown there, I have simply copied most of it, which I thought might be related, and pasted it here. All right. So explanation is not that much important for you. If you want, definitely you can do that. Okay. I'm not explaining because it is not a part of Ionic, mostly with the Android one that is related. So these are the stuff that I have done here and we are good to go. But before going ahead, we need to install some packages also. Now for installing it up, what I'll do, I'll go to which file in the app one. Let me just search it in the app one build.gradle file. And within that, in the dependencies one, I need to paste two stuff. One is for the work runtime and the other one is for the direct boot one. So in the direct boot, the version that was shown there is different. Okay. If I just go back and to the receive messages, what was the version that was shown here for direct boot? Let's check it out. Direct boot 20.2.0. Okay. But if I run that version, it's going to give me an error here. Because in our case, the version that we have for our Firebase one in the variables.gradle file, I think I'll get it here. In the variables.gradle file is 23.1.2. And I think we need to pass the same version because there will be version classes. That is what the error I got. If you want, you can simply try that up and you will get the same error. And in order to resolve that, definitely you need to pass that particular value that I told you just now. So I'm just going to get back to the build.gradle file, and this is a version that you need to pass. And for work time, you can simply pass the version that is shown here. That's quite okay. So remember to do this stuff. Okay. Otherwise the problem will occur because the work is not explained, or sorry, the work is not downloaded here. You're using work everywhere, right? Android X work. So definitely you need to install that part in order to work with that. And instead of pasting it here, what am I going to do? I'm just going to cut it and paste it in Android Studio, because we'll have the option to sync. If you just check it in the Android Studio now, you will get certain errors here, right? A lot of red marks are coming up. And in order to solve that, definitely you need to do certain tasks. So in the work one, mostly the errors are coming up. And for resolving that, definitely you need to install this. So I'm just going to go to the build.gradle file once again. So in the Gradle one, build.gradle file, I'll just open it up, which is this particular one. In fact, now within this, I'll just scroll till here and simply paste this too and click on this sync now. Once that will get synced, everything will be downloaded and we will not have any issues after that. If I go to my Firebase service messaging service, you will see we don't have any more errors here and we are good to go. So once everything is done, our stuff for registering for direct boot and everything is properly done. I don't think we will have certain issues now in receiving the push notifications. Even the app is closed. That's what the documentation is saying. So I hope it will work and I think we are good to go. So we can simply try to run this project again. Let's try it. All right, it is running again and I don't think we will have any error so far. Great. So no errors. Now it's time to test the application. What am I going to do? I'm just going to close this application here. All right. And we'll go for notification one. So let's go to test notification and create a new campaign here in which I'll pass a title, background notification, testing notification in background mode. Okay. Let's go ahead. Next, select the application. Next, now, next. If you want to pass any data, bg value test 1. Any value I'm just passing in, you can pass any kind of data you want. All right. So let's review this and wait for it to show it into our screen. Okay. You can try for a longer duration also if you want to, but I think it should work. So our notification is created. We just need to wait for it to show up here. And right now, I don't think I have any notification. So that's great. All right. I just received the notification. It took longer duration, but at least I received it. So finally, everything is working fine. The only problem that I'm facing here is the duration of receiving the notification. Let me know in the comment section whether you are receiving the same problem or not. Alright, so I hope you have enjoyed this particular video. Let me know in the comment section how you like this video. And if you're new here, make sure you subscribe to the channel and look into my courses which are available on Udemy. And there are a lot of coupons that are available where you will get a limited period offers that are going on. So go and check that out right now. So with this, I'm going to wrap up this lecture here. Thank you so much for watching and I'm going to see you next time.